Hello, welcome to Salvos Moneycare Money Essentials webinar. My name's Jono. I head up our You're the Boss program, which is a program aimed to help people get in control of their money. And every day this week, we've been hosting short presentations on topics that help you master your money. Today's our final one, and it's a great one. Perhaps we should have opened with it. It's all about asking for help. A little later, I'll introduce Mandy, who's coming to share with us. But before we get to that, if you've got any questions on today's topic, I encourage you to get in touch by clicking a little Q&A button, a speech bubble icon up in the top right corner of your screen. Then you should see a purple Ask a Question button, and off you go. We might not get to everyone's questions today, and if we don't get to yours, we really encourage you to get in touch with us via email, and we'll give you those details at the end of the webinar. Also at the end, there'll be a link sent out with sort of the key points from today, a recording of the webinar too. So if you miss something for today, or if you think this is a great resource, which I believe it will be, to share with your friends and your family, other people in your life, that will be available. But yeah, just wanted to give a little bit of an introduction for Mandy. She's sharing with us today from Western Australia, another really experienced and passionate a member of our Moneycare team, and this topic, as I said, I think is so relevant for the crazy times that we're in, because I think there's going to be so many people out there asking for help, perhaps with their money situation for the first time. So I know Mandy's got some great wisdom to share with us all today, so really looking forward to it. Yeah, so welcoming Mandy. Thanks.
Thanks, Jono. My name's Mandy. I work for the Salvation Army in Western Australia. I've worked for the Salvation Army for 17 years, and in that time I've worked in a variety of community services roles, including financial counselling. Moneycare is a nationally accredited financial counselling service. Financial counsellors from Moneycare work with people who are in difficulty or crisis with a view to improving their situation. We will work with you to ascertain options for your situation and to help you to make informed decisions. In appropriate circumstances, we can act as an advocate for you. We will also seek to refer you to other services that can assist you and to help you to avoid future issues. So, you know, we are all wired for the most part to want to help our fellow human beings, but why is it so hard to seek help? We know that we should seek help, but maybe it's embarrassing, the reason we need help, or maybe we are overwhelmed, or maybe we just don't know where to start, or maybe we don't know where to go to get help, or maybe we just don't recognise the signs of financial hardship. In my mind, you're in hardship the first time you have to say no to something that you previously could afford. For example, you can no longer afford medication that you need, or you might get a reminder notice on a utility bill, or you might miss a payment on a debt, or you just can't afford a cup of coffee at a cafe. Good news, there is help out there. We've got an outline of where to go to get help for common scenarios that we see at Moneycare. So we often see people who get into difficulties with unsecured debts. They are personal loans, credit cards, any debt that an asset hasn't been used to secure. So we're not talking about mortgages or things like that, but just credit cards, personal loans, all those sorts of things. If you have any difficulty paying your unsecured debts, immediately contact your lender and explain the situation. If that does not resolve this situation, please contact your local Moneycare financial counsellor on 1800 722 363, who will assist you to deal with your creditors and outline options that will suit your individual circumstances. Now, what if your bankers have been doing the wrong thing? Have you seen the headlines? They've been constantly constantly in trouble, and just recently again in trouble. They haven't been doing the right thing for many, many years. So a small sample of what the banks have been doing wrong is, as highlighted by the Royal Commission, they're charging fees and not giving the services attached to those fees, irresponsible lending, lending money that you could not afford to repay, selling unsuitable services, insurances that were inappropriate, for example, and putting fees to people that were no longer alive. Inform the bank of the issue and ask for a remedy from your bank. If this is not as successful, you need to make a complaint to their internal dispute resolution team. Each bank has different names for their internal dispute resolution team, so it may not be easily recognisable, such as Customer Complement and Complaint Service, which bank, Complaint Resolution Team, Complaint Consultant. A second tier of internal dispute resolution that some banks are using in a bid to stop the complaints going further is Customer Advocate. If this all fails, you will need to go to Australian External Dispute Resolution Service, which is AFCA, the Australian Financial Complaints Authority. I'd just like to know, who was the spin doctor that named debt cards credit cards? I'm guessing that was a bank. And Jono, do you know what was the first ever credit card?
No, Mandy, I have no idea. Tell us.
It was Diners Club, and there are multiple services that offer credit cards now. And this is my beautiful granddaughter telling me, if money doesn't grow on trees, why do banks have branches? All right, next we're going on to secured debts. Secured debts are forms of loans that are backed by an asset. The lender can sell that secured asset to get its money back if you cannot repay the loan, and they do this. So it is vitally important that as soon as you're unable to pay, that you contact the lender immediately, and hopefully before you miss a payment. All lenders have to have hardship teams. There are various options available once you get into difficulty. So variation of your contract, a moratorium, or you can hand in your asset. You need to seek assistance from a financial counsellor to help you navigate these options. They'll enable you to work out on your individual circumstance which option is best for you. If you are suffering difficulty because you've lost your income, you should check to see if you have any insurance that may cover this, such as income protection in your super. If there is still no resolution to your difficulty, a Moneycare financial counsellor can help you put a complaint into AFCA. AFCA, the Australian Financial Complaints Authority. Before you complain to AFCA, with your financial counsellor, identify the issue you want to complain to them about, work out if you want to authorise your financial counsellor to complain on your behalf. Think about the type of loss you've experienced, because they normally will only put things back to the way they were, and what sort of outcome you want to achieve. So what are you hopefully going to achieve from this complaint? Collect any relevant documents, including any conversations or emails that you've had with your lender. And if you're experiencing financial difficulty, you need to prepare a statement of financial position, which your financial counsellor will help you do. Now, guarantors. This is something I feel really strongly about. Guarantor is someone who agrees legally to cover someone else's loan if they can't or won't pay. Now, banks do pursue guarantors, so I've got some advice for you is, if you ask to go guarantor, don't do it. Just know, unless you are happy to pay the debt back yourself, because that's what being a guarantor means. If you are the one asking someone to go guarantor, just know, don't do that. If the bank is telling you that you need a guarantor, or the bank is telling you that you aren't able to afford this loan. If it's something you absolutely need, you need to look into Red Shield NILS, which is the Red Shield no interest loan scheme, or another no interest loan scheme. We have the information for Red Shield NILS later. Now, I don't know about you, but I regularly check my transactions on all my accounts. Everybody should be doing this. This is the way you catch people who are fraudulently taking money from any of your accounts. So what do you do when you notice a suspect transaction? Check first, check the name of it. So Google the name that comes up on your transaction, because the name that comes up on your transaction may be different from the name that you're used to seeing. So, you know, your local coffee shop may trade as something entirely different as the name above the door. And so once you've Googled the name, hopefully it'll then match the business name that you recognise. If you still don't recognise the transaction, contact your bank as soon as possible, as there are timeframes that you have to address. If it is the result of someone accessing your account fraudulently, submit a report to cyber.gov.au. It can really happen to anyone. At one point, all my Qantas points from my frequent flyer account were stolen, and from that they were then able to get into my bank account, my credit card, and steal $5,000 from that. So it really, and I'm very cautious, and the reason I caught that my Qantas card points were stolen was that because I was checking accounts and could see that there was a faulty transaction on it, and then checked all my accounts and saw that someone had been on a spending spree with my Qantas accounts and with my credit card. So we were able to get that all back. We had to go to the police and then had to put in a report to cyber.gov.au. When you have a consumer problem, so, you know, we have really strong consumer laws in Australia, and we should all expect that we get what we paid for, that it is safe and that it is fit for purpose. For example, if a service has not been provided to your satisfaction, which has happened to me recently, a plumber performs work on a pipe at your house, and a week later the same pipes burst. That service was not provided to my satisfaction. Or you buy some goods and they're not fit for use. You have bought something that does not work in the way you expected it to or was described to. For example, you were after a trending dining chair and instead you were sent a dollhouse chair. See my picture. So consumer guarantees apply to all purchases for personal and household use, but not business use. That is a different story. And they cover new and second-hand items, sale items, online purchases. Even if that online purchases is with an overseas agency, if they're trading in Australia, they need to go work within our consumer guarantees. Gifts with the proof of purchase, like a receipt or back statement. If something does go wrong, in the first instance, contact the seller and ask for the issue to be solved. If they can't or won't solve the issue, the next step is to put it in a written complaint to the business. If you're still unhappy with the outcome, contact Consumer Affairs and outline the issues. See the table below for all the numbers in your state. Thank you. And this is probably the last thing we're going to get to, but what to do when your employer is not doing the right thing. There have been numerous reports of employers not doing the right thing by their employers, and they have not been paying them the right wages and or not paying into their superannuation accounts. This is wage theft. A 2019 KPMG report put the annual figure for wage theft at more than 1.35 billion, and estimated as much as 13% of the total workforce has been affected. If I stole that much, I would be put in jail, not just given a fine. And when you are struggling to pay the bills, every cent counts, which is why I want you to check. And we all need to check that we're being paid appropriately and ensuring that we are getting the right leave. On the Fair Work Australia website, you can easily check what you should be getting paid. If you check and find that you're not getting paid correctly, first go to who pays you in your company, and then human resources. And if still you don't get that paid and or the correct amount, go to Fair Work. They will help you resolve the issue between you and your employer. You should also regularly check that your super that is getting paid and at the correct intervals. Superannuation must be paid at least every 3 months into an employee's nominated account. This is so that your super account builds up at the right pace. So this is the contact email website for Fair Work. Please look into that. I'd just like to say thank you to Jono and Anna for helping me, and here's Jono to talk to you.
Thanks, Mandy. Yeah, as always, your flair and your passion is coming through, and yeah, a lot of wisdom in there today. Lots to take on for people, and so what we're going to do is we'll make those slides available for people with those contact details, because I think it's chock full of really helpful stuff for people. So thank you so much for that, Mandy, for covering what is, as I said at the start, a really important topic. So I'm glad that those who've joined in, and as I said, there'll be a recording of this, so it could be a great resource to share on with other people in your life as well. Just a couple of things before we wrap up. Up in the chat or in the Q&A section, there'll be a link there with an email. As I said before, if you got a question that you didn't get to today or didn't ask, but come away with a few questions, best way to get in touch with us is via email, you'retheboss@moneycare.org.au. And yeah, we'll send an email out from today with the recording link. The supporting resources as well will be available. And that goes for all the webinars that we've hosted this week, just to let you know that they're all going to be available as well. So it's been a week full of a lot of helpful information that I know people are going to be wanting to access in the coming weeks and months. So thanks to everybody for tuning in. Thanks for our presenters, for Mandy today. And yeah, look forward to what's to come in the future. Thanks and bye for now.